the video so close. I just picked up this little Catalina travel trailer. It's Sunday. It's Mother's Day, but I was planning on doing this one yesterday on Saturday, and I ended up spending the whole day at car dealerships. I ended up getting my wife a new vehicle. I'll put a picture in the link, so I'll tell you a little bit about that experience. But right now, this travel trailer, it's only 16 feet long, so it's tiny, which is nice. For me, I get paid the same amount of money, whether it's 16 feet or 30 feet. The only time it goes up in pay is if it goes over 10,000 pounds or it has 3 axles or a park model. So there's no downside to pulling these little ones. If anything, it's only upside because you're gonna likely get better fuel mileage, less wear and tear on the truck, and it's just an easy pull. Even if the wind kicks up, this trailer weighs like 2,400 pounds. I did a short video, and it's gonna be in the short section of like a full walk around. This is the first time I've done a video with the interior of the camper. I think I'm gonna start doing that, so anybody that's maybe not following the channel necessarily for RV transport, but just RVs in general, maybe they can see some videos of some trailers that they like. But yeah, it's just something a little different I'm gonna try to do. I don't usually do it because I'm trying to hook and go, but I'll take the extra couple of minutes to do that from now on if I can, and it's not too busy in the pickup area. But picking up on a Sunday like today, nobody was there. I pulled it out into the parking lot area, and it wasn't a big deal to like block the parking lot, so I went ahead and did that. So this trailer, funny enough, I actually pulled this one from Coachman to our storage lot at the end of last month, and now I'm pulling it again to its destination. It's going up to Madison, Wisconsin, to the dealership up there. So that's going to be a quick, easy, because excuse me, there's no gates or anything I got to unlock there. So I should be home hopefully by 10. I didn't leave my house until, well, it's actually like 5:05 Chicago time, even though it's 6:05 Indiana. So I think I left my house right around like 2:30. It should be less than a 10-hour run all day. This load pays $560. I got a mosquito or something in the truck. It's annoying. But as far as the car buying, so we've been kind of looking on and off for, I don't know, maybe like 3 months, give or take a few weeks. Could have been closer to 4 months or closer to 2. Definitely over 2, I think. We weren't in need of a vehicle, but wanted something a little bit larger. My wife was driving Kia Telluride. They do seat 7, which was nice because her previous vehicle was a 4-door Jeep Wrangler. And when we had the second kid, my oldest daughter was still in a booster then. And then my second daughter obviously was in her car seat. And with the booster and the car seat and only having like the middle seat left, whenever we tried to fit like a third booster, and we could, but you had to like slam the door shut. So when my one daughter wanted to bring friends, or we're taking them to practice or something for the sports that they play, it was really hard. You could, like, to get 2 boosters and a car seat, it really didn't fit. And then even when it was just a booster and a car seat, the middle seat was almost like useless. You definitely couldn't do an adult. Maybe a kid that was 10 years old or something could fit, but not comfortably. So we upgraded to the Kia Telluride. Like I said, that has the 3rd row seating. It's Sat 7. The only downside to that was a very nice vehicle, and if you're in the market, I would say for like a mid-size SUV, depending on what you're looking for, if it's just to be a family vehicle, it honestly is one of the best buys. They come with a 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty, which I think is good because we only had a few issues with it in the nearly 60,000 miles that we had it. But they would it had developed an oil pan leak. So I mean, if it wasn't under warranty, that probably would have been a fairly expensive repair. The only downside is, in order to keep that 10-year 100,000 mile, you probably could do your own maintenance on it, but you better have good receipts and stuff like that, because if you don't, they're not going to honor the warranty. So, or have a reputable shop or a dealership do it, but then obviously if you have the dealership do the work, it's expensive. We were coming up on the 60,000 mile maintenance, and I want to say to have the dealership do it, it was $3,500, and really all it was the normal oil change, tire rotation, stuff like that, spark plugs, I think differential transmission service, but it wasn't anything too extreme, but it was going to be about $3,500. And that's kind of what made me bite the bullet on getting the bigger vehicle now, because I didn't want to put the $3,500 into it, which really wasn't going to add any value to the vehicle, knowing that we wanted something larger in the long run anyways. But like I said, as far as options go, we had the top of line, the SX Prestige. I think it retails for around 55, might be 58 now for the newest model. But as far as options go, it definitely competes with any BMW X5 or Audi, any of the American-made mid-size SUVs. It has heated cooled seats, suede headliner, heads-up display, air suspension. It had a lot of good options, and it rode really nice. As far as performance goes, it's just a NA V6. I mean, it scooted for what it was. It got around just fine, but it really wasn't a performance vehicle at all. So if you're looking for performance, that would not be the motor I would go with. The fact that it doesn't have a turbo or anything like that, and it's just, and the gas mileage really isn't great. You're looking at high teens probably on the highway, which was kind of a odd thing, because most of the mid-size SUVs get better mile per gallon than that. But my wife doesn't drive a lot. It's 1,000 miles a month, so it really doesn't matter what she gets for gas mileage. As far as the vehicle that we ended up getting, we got the 2025 Ford Expedition, the Tremor model. So really nice vehicle. It has tons of new tech. That has the big I think it's a 30-inch screen across the dash area, and then I want to say it's a 13-inch screen in the center. It has an odd-shaped steering wheel, so it has more of a rectangular with the top and bottom being flat, but that's so that with the self-driving mode, the sensors can see you, and you can see the 30-inch screen well, because it kind of combines. They don't do heads-up display because you have the big screen right there, and has the heated cool seats, all that. Tons of room. I'm not a tall person. I'm 5'8" on a good day probably, and in the back seat though, I've got tons of space. A 6-foot person could easily sit in the back seat. 6-foot person could probably sit in the third row and still not be uncomfortable. I could sit in the third row and still have leg room, which was good. It has a split tailgate. So, and then as far as competing wise, tech and size wise, you're looking at competing against say a Tahoe or GMC Yukon, and we looked at all of them, and I liked the Ford Expedition better. The GMC with the 6.2 liter seemed, from what I've been told, has been having a lot of issues lately. I'm sure when you break down the percentage, it's probably not that high of an issue, but I'll try to do a video on the Expedition, just a quick walk around so people can see it. The Tremor is the off-road package, so very cool vehicle though. If you haven't seen one, definitely look it up. There's a couple of YouTube videos on them. It's a nice vehicle. They have a platinum model as well that we looked at. My wife just liked the off-road look, so ours comes with the beefier suspension, the 33-inch all-terrain tires, and some different LED lighting and stuff like that. So rode really smooth. It's hopefully a vehicle that we'll be able to keep for a long time and do family trips and stuff. I'm gonna try to pull my camper with it, at least on like short camping trips, like 2 hours or less, because obviously like having extra room inside of it versus a pickup truck is kind of nice with the kids. So we're gonna try it out. It has a 9,200 pound tow capacity, but the payload is only like 1,350, so it's pretty low on the payload. And my camper is big. It's like my travel trailer is like 37 feet long, but it doesn't weigh a lot. I think the dry weight's like 6,800 because it only has the one slide. So I'm gonna give it a shot on a shorter trip. I'll have to order like a nice weight distribution hitch for it and just see how it does. We're getting ready to do a longer trip, like I think it's 7 or 8 hour drive, 7 hours, I think, Lake of the Ozarks. Definitely gonna use my truck for that because I don't really want to. That's gonna be our first camping trip of the year, and I don't want to test towing with the Expedition on that long of a trip, and just the chance of us hitting bad weather or high winds and stuff. I'd feel more comfortable pulling it with my truck that's built for it. So, but check it out. Let me know what you think of the Expeditions if you've looked at them. It's got the high output EcoBoost 3.5 liter motor. I think it's the same one that's in the Raptor. So it's like 440 horsepower, and I want to say 480 foot-pounds of torque. When the warranty is up, I would love to put a tuner on that because I think there's like a tune that brings it up to 500 horse and 580 foot-pounds of torque. It's a twin turbo V6. So I've had the EcoBoost and F-150 before. I really like those motors. They're fun. You can do a lot to them. Power-wise, it definitely won't have an issue pulling the trailer. It's just going to be whether or not the wheelbase is going to do it, because you couldn't get the Tremor package with the Expedition Max, which gives you the longer wheelbase, which is like the Suburban. And also my wife didn't want that longer one. This is already a large vehicle compared to like her Jeep Wrangler or Kia Telluride, so it's gonna, but it turns, parks like super nice. So she was surprised how easy it is to drive, but she didn't want the Max, even though I thought that would be a good idea if we're gonna try to use it for camping trips and stuff like that. But it is what it is. If it doesn't work out, obviously I've got the truck, still planning on getting a second truck, so if, you know, whatever the case might be, I'll be able to pull it with my trucks if the camper is just too large for the Expedition. So, but yeah, if you have an Expedition, whether it's even the 2025, which is the new redesign, or older, love to hear how you like it. This is our first Expedition. I've generally been a Ford guy. I like Mustangs. I should say I love Mustangs. I've had them. I've had like a half a dozen or more Ford trucks, and I don't know, I always end up falling back for the Fords. So but this is the first time I've purchased a Ford for my wife, but she likes it. I got it for her for Mother's Day, or at least that's what I'm calling it. Was gonna probably get it anyways, but like I said, I'll put a picture of it. I did a really poor job taking pictures of it because I just spent the whole day at the dealership, and I'll probably got some stories on what happened at the dealerships, but I'm gonna add that in the video a little bit later. Alright, I'm back with, I wanted to share my experience with car buying, which, so this vehicle, the Expedition, was the hardest car buying experience that I can remember having. I don't think I really bought too much during COVID, so I did buy a Ram 1500, but I got that at like the end of the year and was able to get a great deal even during COVID times. But I'm the type where it's like I'm shopping for the deal, and if it's for me, color isn't that big of a deal. You know, obviously I'm not gonna buy a color I absolutely hate. So like, or maybe not even hate, but just can't see myself driving. So like, I probably would never buy, let's say like a yellow truck, even if the deal was good, just because I think that even though it might look cool, I think I would get bored of something like that rather quickly. But you know, like I say, my last 3 trucks were like red or this maroonish, and I don't even really like red trucks. Like, if I had a preference, I'm gonna do a white truck or a black truck. But if I find the right truck and it's not a color I hate and the deal's right, like, that's the one I want to go with. My wife, on the other hand, she's very picky, so we ended up going, it's like a space silver metallic. It's almost like a flat gray, like light grayish silver. And it was gonna, like, either that or white is what she wanted. And it had to either be like the platinum package, but preferably the Tremor. And because they just came out, there was like, one of the dealerships told me there was only like 15 Tremors countrywide, and some of those were still at the manufacturer, not shipped yet. So it was really not an easy vehicle to find. Most of the dealerships didn't have it. You could find Platinums a little bit easier, but technically the Platinum was a lower model than the Tremor. The King Ranch was the highest model, but she wouldn't want the brown interior. It had to be either like all black interior or like a whitish interior, and that just made for a really hard vehicle to find. And dealerships knew that they had kind of a unicorn type vehicle, so most of the dealerships right now are selling those for above sticker or MSRP and nothing off, which I've never paid above sticker. We'll never do that. And I've never paid MSRP. I've always been able to work a deal. So for me, that was like really hard to understand. So we went to a dealership that was like a half hour from our house Wednesday of this week, the first day. I was doing a gutter cleaning job out there, and I happened to drive by, see that they had the gray color, that one of the gray colors that she wanted. They had 2 of them there, and I told her, I was like, let's go check it out tonight. We'll grab some dinner while we're over there. So we went over there. We both drove it around the parking lot, let the kids kind of run around in it and check it out. They were right next to each other, same color. One was a Platinum, one was a Tremor. We both liked the Tremor better when we were sitting in it. So when it came time to like talk numbers, they weren't coming off sticker price, and they weren't giving us what we wanted on trade-in. So we walked on it, and I told the wife, like, you know, this is before I really knew how hard they were to find and stuff like that. So I made a Facebook post on like the Expedition page, and that's when a lot of people were telling me, like, if they're willing to sell to you at sticker price and not above MSRP, then that's a deal that you should jump on right now. I still wasn't convinced at that. I did some research and found a dealership that was an hour away from me, had a white one that was listed at employee pricing, which was like $35.50 below MSRP. And so the next night we drove over there, took a look at that one. I don't even know if we drove it, because it's the same thing, just different color. Had a few more options. It had like the Blue Cruise, which is the self-driving mode on the highway, which is, my wife wanted it, but it's kind of silly because she doesn't really do any driving on the highway, except for maybe a couple times a month. But that one had like the 7-year subscription paid up front with the vehicle, so it was more money, and then you had to pay extra for the white. So, but they had it discounted, so it was basically the same price as the other one, but you had more options, a higher sticker price. They would also not give us what we needed on trade, but they recommended going through like CarMax, or they basically said if you can get a CarMax offer that's higher, they would match it, or we could sell it to like Carvana or something. So we did walk on that one as well. That experience I didn't like. So the salesperson, who was an older gentleman, I really liked the salesperson from the first place we went to that wouldn't come off MSRP. He was one of my favorite salespeople I've ever dealt with. There was no pressure. He was great with my kids. Older gentleman. The second guy, older as well. He walked to the vehicle. We drove with the kids from our vehicle, is like farther back in the lot. So we drove over there, and on the walk there, I could see that he was smoking a cigarette. And then we got there, he unlocked it, and we were sitting inside, and he was just standing outside of the vehicle smoking a cigarette, which I just thought that was really unprofessional. And then when he was done with his cigarette, he got in the vehicle and sat in the back seat and shut the door, and it smelled like someone was smoking a cigarette still in the entire vehicle, and it gave me a headache. I don't smoke, no one in my family does, and I would say probably sensitive to that smell just because I'm not used to it, and it definitely gave me almost an immediate headache. I had my kids in the car. I just thought it was a really unprofessional look, and we did end up leaving. Even though that was a good deal on the vehicle, I wanted to figure out what was going on with my trade, and I just really didn't like the sales process there, and I have a hard time buying from someone that I didn't take as professional. So the third day, so Wednesday was the first one, Thursday was the second one, Friday I found a Platinum with the Stealth package. So it was the Platinum, but it had the black wheels, black grille. It looked really sharp looking. It was white. And I called and I set up a time to go look at it on Saturday. But then I ended up having some time Friday after my load got dropped off. I told my wife it was like 25 minutes from my house. I was like, just meet me there, take a look at it. And, that way if you do or don't like it, we have Saturday open for another dealership if we want to, if we find something. So we drove there on Friday, got there like 2 or 3 hours before they closed, and they told me that the owner took the vehicle home. So I was a little bit disappointed because I was like, well, I called and said I was coming first thing in the morning tomorrow. I just assumed the vehicle was going to be here. I should have probably called and double checked for that evening it was going to be there. But I would have figured that knowing somebody was coming in the morning to look at it, they would have kept it, had it cleaned up. So it was a little bit disappointing. We ended up going back Saturday to look at it. Outside it was clean, but the inside you could tell somebody had been driving it. Like you could tell the owner had been eating in there. There was like crumbs in the center console, a water bottle cap like laying in the center console. There was 700 miles on it, which is nothing obviously, but it's not 10 miles like the other ones. So I asked them, I was like, were you guys doing employee pricing? And I did ask on the phone, and they said it should qualify for employee pricing. And then obviously when I got there, they're like, no, these are selling too hot. We're selling this at sticker price. And I said, well, this one has 700 miles on it. Are you guys doing a discount because of the mileage and the fact that it has some use on it? And they just said no, they weren't willing to do anything. So we ended up leaving. They really didn't try at all. Like they definitely had the attitude of like someone's gonna buy this no matter what type of thing. So I told the wife, I said, I'll go back and I'll get you the white one with the guy I really didn't care for. And that was like an hour and 10 minutes from where I was. So I called him, told him I'm coming, talk some things over when I get there. So he was gonna get it cleaned up, stuff like that. So I got there and I told him, I was like, I'll buy the vehicle if you guys can tint the front windows, like the side windows, and throw in 3 free oil changes. And the sales guy he said no. He said and he said you wouldn't have drove all this way if you weren't going to buy this vehicle and you didn't like our price. So then it was just kind of cocky and arrogant, and I flat out told him, I said I really, this is my least favorite dealership that I worked with, and I just kind of told him like that I thought it was unprofessional the way that he smoked and this and that, and got in the car with little kids. And when the manager came over, they just basically said like flat out, we're not doing anything on this vehicle and we're about to raise the price on it. So if you don't buy it at this price, it's going up the $3,500 back up to sticker price. So I don't know, I just didn't like the situation that I was put in, and I left kind of bummed out because I drove all that way. And I called the original dealership that we went to on Wednesday that wasn't willing to move off MSRP at all, and I just called and said, I couldn't get a hold of the sales guy, that he's the one I really liked, and I left him a message, said, if you can match the deal that they're giving me on this one, I'll buy it right now. I could be there within an hour. So I called his cell phone, called his landline, didn't get a response at all. So I was gonna just start driving that way in hopes of, it was another hour to that dealership, but I could get there a couple hours before they closed, and I was just kind of hoping that I could make the deal. I was just gonna bank on getting there and that they would be willing to work with me. So it was kind of like a shot in the dark, but I started driving that way, and then I thought, let me just check AutoTrader one more time, make sure nothing else has popped up. I pulled up my phone, pulled up AutoTrader, and sure enough, one popped up, and it was actually the cheapest. They had it marked like $6,500 off, and I thought, there's no way, this is definitely a mistake. But it was only 10 miles from where I was currently, so it was like a 20-minute drive with traffic. So I didn't call, I just went straight there. When I got there, I didn't see it on the showroom floor, and I got a little nervous, or I didn't see it out on the outside, and I got a little nervous. I walked in, and they had it in the showroom, and so it was like the gray metallic color, silver metallic, whatever it's called, and I started looking at it, and sales manager kind of just joked around me like, oh, let's get you signed up for this one. And I just told him, I was like, matter of fact, that's why I'm here. So that, I explained to him what just happened. I was about to sign the papers, didn't like the way that I was being treated, but if you guys want to match the same deal, give me the employee pricing, tint the windows, give me the oil changes, here's the trade-in on my car, this is what they were going to give me. You want to match this deal, I'll walk out with this vehicle today. They got me where I needed to be. It was a little less than what I wanted for my trade, but honestly, they were right in the same area, a little bit higher than the other 3 dealerships, so I just figured I'm not going to complain about that. I could have sold it for a little bit more money to like a Carvana, but then I would have lost my tax advantage on that, so it kind of worked out anyways. And I ended up getting that vehicle. I won't say I was 100% happy with the sales process. When it came time to ring it up, they kind of played dumb on the tinted windows and oil changes. They didn't know what I was talking about, even though the manager and I agreed upon it. But I got them. They actually ended up giving me, instead of the 3 free oil changes, they gave me 6. So it ended up working out in my favor. It was 6 free oil changes and tire rotations. So my wife only drives 1,000 miles a month. That's gonna be for 2 years. And then they are gonna do the window tints. I got to bring it back in. They won't do the windshield because it's illegal in Illinois to do it. So they're gonna do the 2 front side windows, and then I'm gonna have to take it somewhere to get the windshield done. Side note, that's a game changer. If you've never had a windshield tinted, it's so nice to have a nice tinted windshield when you're driving in the sun and stuff like that. But long story short, I got the vehicle. It was quite the process, but I was able to get a good discount in terms of what that vehicle is. Not the discount that I would have tried to get if I'm buying a truck or something for myself, but considering it's a brand new vehicle, very few on the market. I had made a post on the Expedition page, and that's what most people were telling me, if you can get one for sticker, jump on it, because there's brokers buying them and reselling them to dealerships. Brokers buying them over sticker, then selling it for even more over sticker to other dealerships and stuff like that. So for me to get, it was $3,500 off sticker. I actually made another post showing that what I got it for, and people were basically calling me a liar, and I'm I don't have any reason to lie. It's not even I feel that great about the deal contact information for the dealership that has the white one, that I didn't enjoy the salespeople and walked out. But they did end up raising the price on that one. But I basically told the Facebook group, like, hey, if you're interested in buying this, like, I'll send you the paperwork I had written up so that you can try to work the same deal. I just recommend a different salesperson. And honestly, like, they called me back, or they contacted me shortly after I had left, but I was already past that point. Like, I'm not going back there. I was soured on the dealership. And honestly, like, for the second dealership that I bought, the actual one I bought from, they had, like, no beef or no issues with throwing in the tint or anything, or the oil changes, like, other than at the end of it, like, playing stupid. But that just shows you, like, the cost for them to do something like that is nothing when they're making a deal, where the first dealership was, like, making a huge deal about a couple $100 and oil changes and tints on their cost. And I was like, you know what, like, if I'm buying this expensive of a vehicle, I don't know why that's such a big deal. So but that's the process. Like, wasn't great. Sorry for the long rant story, but it definitely was like a tiring process. I don't want to have to do that again, but like I said, we got the family vehicle now, the one that, we can, a lot of times when we're driving my daughter to her lacrosse practice or something, we're bringing multiple kids with us that are on the team and carpooling and stuff, and it'll just give us that extra room for equipment and kids and stuff like that. So definitely a vehicle that I could see us keeping for a long time and using for family activities. But let me know what your car buying experience is, if you've had similar experiences like I have. Have you purchased, like, a vehicle that is considered high demand or brand new to the market and struggled like I did to get, even a slight deal on it? I'd like to hear your stories in the comments. And also let me know if you think I was wrong to walk out on the sale with the guy that smoked and got in the car. It kind of left me, like, I understand that if you smoke, you probably think that it was kind of arrogant of me to leave, but I didn't like it. I felt like it was unprofessional. Maybe I overreacted, I don't know, but let me know in the comments what you think.